Well, everybody, welcome. Bienvenidos to Cultivating Voices live poetry for our final reading of March in our fifth anniversary month. And today, for our fifth anniversary celebratory open mic. Yay, it's our birthday. I'm your host, Sandy Yannone. As I've been for most of the past 5 years, there have been a few times I haven't been, and I'm grateful for those hosts who stepped in. And beyond grateful for this role to curate poetry through what history will remember as some of the strangest, most fraught, and dangerous times in the world. But honestly, folks, the poetry has kept us together. It's kept us going. It's kept us motivated. It's kept us on message. Well, before we begin with our celebratory open mic, I also want to give a big shout out to our March New Books Showcase readers, Kashiana Singh, Kach O'Neill McCullough, Mega Sud, and Allison Prine. I actually overheard my mom listening the other day, and I was completely, beautifully overwhelmed and overjoyed by my poetry eavesdropping. Well, folks, I just want to give a little bit of history, the briefest bit of history. 5 years ago this week, I was in Missoula, Montana on what was supposed to be a week of spring break from my academic job. And we were preparing for the first program because my sister and I had conjured up this idea while I was still in Olympia, Washington. She was in Philadelphia, I was in Olympia, and I was with my hosts for my spring break, Liza Rognes and Anita Rognes. And Liza and I went out to Lolo, Montana to record our very first video recording. We used to do little video promos for each program to entice the like 300 or 500 people that were part of the group at that point. And the very first one we did was this video promo of me reading In the Wind, the introduction to Muriel Rukeyser's 1949 classic treatise on poetry, The Life of Poetry. And I was here's the book. It's an amazing book. Was originally, it was brought into reprint by Paris Press, Jan Freeman, who was, of course, a member, and now lives at Wesleyan University Press. Well, so we did the video recording, and I was sending out invites to as many poets as possible to encourage them to join Cultivating Voices. And I want to really, at this time, truly acknowledge those folks who, in the daunting first weeks of the pandemic, allowed for a little more chaos in their lives as I worked to produce our first program. And as I mentioned, those folks are Liza Rognes, Anita Rognes, my sister Elizabeth Ann, who I don't know if she's in the room. She's having back issues today. She said she was going to try to come, but she might not be. And Zoe Wagner, who was really quite behind the scenes. Zoe kept, without fail, every single week, putting every upcoming reading on my website for over 3 years. And of course, I want to acknowledge my mom, who's also watching on another screen in the kitchen. And I must acknowledge the current team who came on after my sister decided it was time to turn over the program to people actually devoted to poetry. Because as she used to tell me, I don't even like poetry, but we're going to do this thing. Well, I could not have asked for better co-spiriters, as I like to call them, then Don Krieger and Kim Ports Parsons. And Liza and Anita are here with us. Obviously, Don and Kim are here with us. And if you are able at this moment, would you please unmute and stand to show your appreciation for these absolutely exceptional patrons of poetry? They are why we are still able to gather multiple days during the year. Thank you. Thank you. Of course.
Congratulations.
Yeah, of course, we could not have done this program without the thousands of you who took a chance early in the pandemic to join us and have continued to find us and post on our Facebook page and read in our programs. Today is really, truly a celebration of the power of poetry and the power of community. And we will spend the next 2 hours doing just that, what we've been doing since March of 2020, gathering to listen, support, and encourage each other to use the power of our voices to speak to the necessity of humanity and community. So before we begin, just a few housekeeping notes, and here they are. As always, stay muted until called to read. Please, today it's one poem, and that includes your commentary, up to 3 minutes. We want to get in as everybody, if we can get everybody in. And at the top of the next hour, we'll shift for a brief in memoriam segment to acknowledge some of our members who we've lost during the 5 years. Also, to allow members to make decisions about whether to mute during your reading, please do provide a content notice where reasonably deemed necessary. Of course, the chat is live. Feel free to post comments showing your love and appreciation for your old and new friends during this celebration. And also feel free to post about upcoming readings and your books. And we're aware that some of you will be attending the Big Writers Conference in LA, so let us know where you'll be signing books or performing. And we'll also have some fabulous poetry giveaways. Giveaways during the program, so listen for those announcements. Well, before we go to our first reader, I believe Kim has something she wants to share.
Yes, we're going to begin with a short clip by Sandy. It was the very first few minutes of the very first Cultivating Voices program.
In Anita Rognus's living room.
Yes. So I'm going to share screen, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. If you're here, you're one of 300 plus members of the Cultivating Voices Poetry Open Mic. And this is our gala event. So glad you're here. What a week it's been on so many levels. But the joy for me was us coming together on this platform. I'm your host today, Sandy Yannone. I'm the author of Boats for Women by Salmon Poetry. I'm welcoming you wherever you are in the world, surviving here for our gala. And for the next 3 hours, you'll be watching live. You'll be watching 12 poets who happen to be across the United States this week, who all took up our call for poets to unite with their voices today. For as Muriel Rukeyser says in her 1949 book, The Life of Poetry, from Paris Press, in time of crisis, we summon all our strength. Our strength comes from our togetherness and all our voices. And you all are a testament of that today. Whether you're going to be one of our featured readers or one of our beloved listeners, our strength is in our togetherness and our voices. I want to thank you, our readers and listeners. And I also want to send out a big sister thanks to my little sister, Beth, otherwise known to most of you out here in our group as Elizabeth Ann. She truly was the inspiration for this idea. I'm so grateful. And she's been doing a lot of tech support behind the scenes. You wouldn't think there'd be that much tech support on a Facebook group, but we've demonstrated that there is. Also, I want to give a big shout out to my hosts here in Missoula, Montana. Liza Rognes and her mama Nita Rognes. They have put up with the unimaginable this week in my crankiness and my exuberance, which held hands many times. And I'm really grateful to be filming from here in this beautiful, beautiful part of the country. A couple other shout outs. I want to say hi to my folks, Vinny and Carol Yannone in Old Saybrook, Connecticut. We love you both. Enjoy the show. And also to my really dear, dear friend, Lou Galvin in Limerick, Ireland. Each reader today will be going live for approximately 15 minutes. Folks, there may be small breaks in between the performers. That's to be expected. But each one will go on live consecutively according to the order of the playlist that you all have access to on the Facebook group page. Also, listeners, if you feel like anything's going on, try to let us know, but also let the readers know. There are buttons and bells and whistles that you can push, pull, and pull that will send up little hearts and stars and things, and certainly you can comment while the feed's going on. Give the readers your love. They've given us their profound work and their time, and we really appreciate it. Readers, again, respect each other, and please finish within the time allotted. Finally, if you like what you hear today, please, please, please consider supporting these writers, their small presses, and the booksellers by buying a book. In many of the bios, there are websites to the authors' pages where you can get information and what their books are and what's available. Again, if you're able, please consider supporting them and buying their books. Well, that's great, because now I don't have to talk about a little bit about the history. You got to kind of see the history. Right. The next 3 hours, we'll see you at 5:45 Pacific. Are we ready? Here we go.
How wonderful to see how Sandy has grown as a host over the years. Let's all give her a giant round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. And on we go. Our first open mic reader, Beth SK Morris, Sandy.
Oh,
and I'll
yeah.
put,
All right.
I will put the first 5 names up. Remember, everyone, 1 poem, 3 minutes or less. Keep your commentary tight so that we can hear from everybody. Thank you and have a great time.
Okay, tight. This comes from a forthcoming book. It's a collaborative hybrid between my late father's last notebook and my poems. And so the first part is going to begin very shortly with a piece from his notebook, 1977. In my lifetime, I have been a lover of beaches, ranging from Coney Island up the Massachusetts private country units, all the way down the Jersey coast from Atlantic Highlands to Wildwood. Now the poem, The Whistler. Marlene and I spent summers on the beach at Lake Hopatcong, listening to Nat King Cole on our portable, lathered in baby oil, faces tilted to the sun, my sister smoking her purloined Pall Malls. My father was a whistler. Pop songs, operatic arias, all four movements of Beethoven's Fifth. He would walk to the edge of the front lawn and whistle. One trumpet-like blast, followed by a trilled coda that carried more than a mile down the road, a signal that brought us up from the beach, up the hill in time for dinner. My sister died last summer, recovering from successful surgery. They weren't certain how it happened. Doctors told us it was probably her heart, just like her father. Except it wasn't like his death. She died in her sleep, alone. But that night, I know he stood at the edge of the hill and whistled her home. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Beth. And now, forever in perpetuity, you will be the answer to a trivia question. Who was the first reader at the 5th anniversary reading? I look forward to your book, of course. Kim, are we ready for our first gift away? Oh, you need to unmute, please.
I'm so used to being muted the whole
I
time. Forgive
know.
me. Okay, so according to our plan, our first door prize goes to the fifth person on the open mic, which is, drumroll please, Ron Bremner.
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 Ron
We
Bremner will be receiving a copy of Marie Howe's What the Living Do. Marie happens to be the poet laureate, was the poet laureate of New York State, which is where Ron lives. And yeah, this is her collection. She's now, of course, have a new and selected book. We heard from her in December. So this book's been so congratulations. Thank you. All right. We move along to our next reader, who is the Artful Dodger, Harvey Soss. Hi, Harvey. And I want to give a shout out. Harvey's a host of a program, and a shout out to all of you hosts out there also. You've done such great work over these past 5 years. Thank you for your creation of community as well.
Thank you. And I just note that I've posted in the chat an invitation to next Sunday's virtual Artful Dodgers Poetry Open Mic to a 2:30 p.m. New York time. And congratulations to you guys, frankly, for having done this for so long and so well. This poem is called Life on Mars. I hope to never see the color red again. Remove it from rainbow and palette and start over. I have back-ordered spectacles with a special lens coating that promises to turn red into anything but. I would take the color of puke in a second, a disturbing thought that might have proved a gold mine for my therapist had arthritis not confined her to her couch in New York. Naugahyde, too old and tired to chance the trip. My early years of summering at Coney Island, of taking the icy New Year's Day plunge with the polar bear club that shrank my testicles to raisins, hadn't prepared me for such an endless vista of sand. And when a sandstorm blows up, we appear to each other as tiny figures in a bloodied snow cone, shaken but not stirred. I want to go home until I realize that this is my home now, red being the sauce of everyday living. As we shuffle through dunes projected to be cities, it is evident to even the most fervent sci-fi believers that the terraforming schedule has fallen short again, or as our three musketeer mucky mucks, IVF children of Elon Musk, put it in their daily briefs, slightly behind schedule. Borrowing a message from 20th century sandhogs employed at reconstructing subways, dig we must. A fine red, what else? Dust clogs our breathing apparatus so that we have to stop after a half hour of slogging through mounded silicates to clear each other's air tubes, as if we were old friends and not recently introduced shipmates, Lewis and Clark's of the Red Planet. Breathe, we must, our tantric mantra. The only greenery to be seen being the recycled plastic of joyless Christmas trees potted year-round in geodesic domes, where we stay, closely packed together, boxes of mixed chocolates with surprise fillings that have survived Valentine's Day. Our creaminess probably no more than acid reflux that sticks in our craws like those one-way tickets we won in a lottery, a source of regret until we're told that climate change has made Vesuvius on Pompeii seem like a cold shower. At least our Mars-born may have a future here. With apologies to the bard, his dread Macbeth, tomorrow or tomorrow it may rain and green the red of death. Thank you.
It's Harvey Soss, who's read many, many an epic poem here on Cultivating Voices. The Artful Dodger, please support Harvey's program as well. Thank you so much for all the poetry. And now we move to Mona Zamfirescu, again, a person who, when I remember so vividly, not only every poem, but I really remember the first time you came on and read, and I was just really, really enthralled with your voice, and Mona has since really leaned in full on to poetry, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad that we've been here to be of support to that journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. I want to thank you all, Sandy and Kim and Don, and all Cultivating Voices community for being such a wonderful platform, and for your work and dedication, and Sandy for your friendship and support. Thank you so much. I'm gonna read a poem that was homework for me. I was supposed to write about mermaids, but I know nothing about mermaids. So I decided to write about a folk story from the part of the world that I grew up in instead. Rusalka Gazal. One day, we'll find inside this pearl body a river. We, like tributaries, will become that river. Under the moon, the circle dance. I fish, you human. Step in. We feel the velvet green, the scum, the river, the sinuous meander of what was just a brook, the mountain's core, the song, its hum, a river. Ensnared in these dark waters, you fish me, I human, you. Unheard under the waves, the drum, its river. The beat that carves rock into riverbed, it's calling. I fish, you human. We bleed from our gums the river. Who am I? Who are you? We asked unhinged, unsatisfied. We link like currents in a conscious stream, the river. Unhinged, unsatisfied, you fish, I human. The pearl a dream away. Into a delta will succumb the river. Our shells dissolve where life begins, in the Black Sea. Rusalka is my name. In the Black Sea, I am the river.
That's another beautiful poem by Mona Zamfirescu. Thank you so much. Continued success in the MFA program, and I look forward to more poems, of course. Well, now we get to hear from Joanne James. I love Joanne James' contributions to Cultivating Voices. Joanne's been with us a long time as well, and so yeah, my heart's just getting really, my heartstrings are really starting to get tugged. Thanks for being here.
I came in May after you just started. I want to read a poem I happened to pick this up last week at the library. It was in a display. Together in a Sudden Strangeness, America's Poets Respond to the Pandemic. And the very first poem I thought was about cultivating voices. So it's Julia Alvarez. How will this pandemic affect poetry? Will the lines be 6 feet apart? Will these hexameters be heroic like Homer's? Will each word have to be masked? Will there be poetry insecurity? Will there be enough poetry to go around? Will poems be our preferred form of travel? Will we undertake odysseys searching for Ithacas inside us? Will poetry go viral? Will its dis-ease infect us? Will it help build up antibodies against indifference? Will poems be the only safe spaces where we can gather together, enter their immense silences, see snakes slithering inside sestinas, listen to nightingales singing on the boughs of odes, hark, a lark in the terza rima, a hawk in a haiku? What if only poetry will see us through? What if this poem is the vaccine already working inside you? Thank you. That seems like it.
That certainly does seem so appropriate. And poems truly did become our travel. I mean, really, truly, truly did. Thank you for just really bringing that thoughtful poem and really bringing us back to those first weeks and months and us to allow us to kind of remember what it was like to be sharing poetry this way for some of the very first times. We weren't on Zoom yet, of course. We didn't go on Zoom until I believe it was June or July. So those first weeks were very fraught because of how we were doing it on Facebook Live. And if you don't remember, those of you who were here, you certainly remember, you were doing individual tutorials with my sister about how to use Facebook Live. And we also did individual tutorials with people how to use Zoom in the early days as well. So a big shout out to her for that. Well, we're going to do I have these alarms going off every 15 minutes for our giveaways. So we're going to do our next giveaway. And Kim, what is our prompt for that this time around?
So, Sandy, on your screen,
Yeah.
going down, I believe.
Yes.
I want you to count, not yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn the page if you need to, okay?
Yup.
And you're going to tell me that person's name. Everything is about the number 5 today for our 5th birthday.
Number 5. Okay, I'm counting. Here I go. I'm doing it. I'm seeing. I'm going. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Okay. Oh my gosh. I love it. It's so like random. Well, that's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. It's actually Kate Wegrison. Kate, if you have this, you let me know and we'll get you something else. It is Fergus Hogan's book, The Wisdom of Fionn. It's an amazing, amazing book. Do you have it?
Yes, I have it.
You have it? Okay. All right.
Of course.
And I'm going to pick up an Evean Boland book for you.
Ooh, how did I get on the list?
It was a random drawing.
Random drawing. It's random.
Oh, I'm random. Yay!
You're random. So, yeah, you'll be getting an Evean Boland book. So,
Remember,
okay.
Sandy. Remember, Sandy, I saw you in Montana in the wind and the rain.
Yes, you did indeed. You did indeed. Or we'll talk about what you might like. You might like The Life of Poetry, actually. You might want the Muriel Rukeyser book. We'll talk. We'll talk. All right. Well, our next reader is the person that won in our first raffle, or not raffle, our first gift away. Ron Bremner from New York. Hello.
Hello, and happy anniversary, Cultivating Voices, and congratulations on 5 years staying power. This poem is currently published in an online journal, and I'll put the link in the chat. It's called Serenity Teaches. Serenity teaches beauty in a wall of Buddhist sleep. Many go straight to the knowing of why. Strange experiences within are alive and well on earth, despite the second-hand struggles to escape. Wise women and men temporarily defeat their racist past, only to assure a murdered future. Dogs are unique, but not psychic, no matter how much they seem to be and how much we want them to be. Cambodian street life, Nepali imaginations, Skid Row clerics, all give detailed instructions on how to get one's prayers answered. It's been assumed by those more intelligent than I that dying is just a trip to divine beaches in Hawaii. But that does not cure the anger that hangs in the air, where we breathe it in and find that we can only hope to be more unusual, entertaining, and valuable than a bee's backside. Thank you and have a pleasant day.
Thank you so much, Ron. And Ron does all kinds of online reading. I see you in so many of the readings that I go to around the country and elsewhere. So yeah, I love your steadfastness. I really admire that. Thank you very much, and it's really been a pleasure to be getting to know you as well. Well, we now go to, I believe she's in Vermilion, in South Dakota. And when Mona was saying, I don't know anything about mermaids, I couldn't write anything about them. Well, Mona, if you ever need to talk to anybody about mermaids, Marcella is your person. So good to see you. And I, of course, remember your first new book showcase, which was in our first year as well. Yep, in the fall of our first year. Thank you so much for your friendship and your support.
I just want to say that it's really hard for me to come by a sense of hope these days, and poetry and Cultivating Voices are really places where I feel hope. So I want to thank you for keeping that hopeful spirit alive for me and probably for many of us. So thank you. This is a poem about driving back roads in South Dakota, called This Painted World. 2 hours into a backroads trek from Aberdeen to Vermilion, a coyote fat with spring appears at the edge of the highway, crosses the road in front of me, bushy tail flicking. For a few minutes, we run together, She in the greening ditch between fence line and road, looking back at me, her body spread for speed. Me braking, window down, jaw slack with the specter. Mine is the only car on this country road, the only car as far as I can see on a vast horizon of prairie. She veers off, crosses back, ghosts dissolving in corn stubble to match her golden brown, until I wonder if I saw her at all. Above me, a yellow crop duster pulls its cloud across a sky so bright and blue it burns my eyes. I lose count of red tails perched on pole tops, watching as they do for chipmunks to skitter among last fall's leavings. I imagine each hawk a blessing, benediction for my safe passage. Ahead, a stand of ancient cottonwoods. When I cross the James River 3 times, it becomes gray and silver thread, embroidered by nature's hand through this painting's blooming bloodroot, pasque, around blue stem and switchgrass, and I know, mere drops of pigment that we are, we're her art too, her creation, and she named us hope. Thank you.
Okay. Zesto says hi.
Oh,
Zesto's doing well. Everybody, I had the joy of spending time with Marcella and Ann Tweedy, who will be reading with us in our live in-person reading representing Cultivating Voices in LA, one of our readers there, on Thursday. And Zesto was gifted to me by Marcella. We had a really great visit. I hope to come out and do a reading and hang out in Vermilion and run into Sean Colvin. That's my fantasy. And now it's recorded. It's there. It's out there in the public now. That's the fantasy, to meet Sean Colvin in Vermilion. Not that she's ever there. Anyway, Sean Colvin's a singer-songwriter, folks, she's phenomenal. Well, thank you. I want to say just quickly something about hope. The last words of your poem and what you started by talking about. Of course, I'm not immune to any of the feelings, the attitudes, the difficulties. And at the most difficult parts for me in the past 5 years, and there were a number, particularly after my father had died, it was very difficult for me to show up. But when Don and Kim said, it's okay, we got you, just come and do it. It was difficult. Not because I didn't want to spend time with folks, but because I was just in the grieving process. And a number of you have been in the grieving process in the past 5 years for a variety of reasons. It's unique to each individual. But after the program, on the weeks, the 3 weeks, I always did feel better. I always did feel that sense of that, okay, the fog will lift at some point. And I really do believe that is one of poetry's superpowers. It provides us with this capacity to be able to see the crack of light when we think there is none. And whether that's, the starlight, the sunlight, the moonlight, whatever light it is that gets to crack through the door, I think poetry helps us open that door when we really, really need it. So thank you for that reminder, Marcella, and your poem, of course.
My apologies, everybody. I assume I've arrived in late here. It must be the time difference. Have you been going for a
Yes. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you. Yeah, it must be the
my
time
mark?
difference, the trickster energy, the trickster energy. No worries, Cathal. It's great to have you here. Thank you. Again, you're one of the people who've been here from the early days too, so thank you. I'm so touched. Well, our next reader is Kristie Williams, and I want to say I also have the memory of hearing you for the very first time and being always, always, always thrilled when you're able to join us and read a poem. So I get to have another thrill today, and I was glad I was in the room with you the other night at Alison Levin's room at reading.
Thank you. I found Cultivating Voices during my grieving process. It started in 2021, and so this is a poem that came out of that, and it just got published in Eastern Seaboard's anthology for North Carolina coastal poets. The title comes from Lynn Emanuel's poem, A Dream in Which I Know Myself. So I am this dream's dog. I run to you faster than limbs could propel me, almost recognizing the slip-slide linoleum dance. Vague fried chicken wings fill my wet nostrils, but when I search your face, I see the formica of this shadowed space will never hold sustenance. You breathe into existence. I try wriggling into the cracks of light that threaten to upside down a thinly braided rug I paced round, begging it to stay. Your black and white hue tells me you'll unravel every strand, leaving my eyes pooling, my howling throat pleading you back with every curtain's call. Thank you.
Well, congratulations on the publication. I always love hearing that a poem, that was written, a couple of years before is finally found its home. That's so great. And that's one of the other things that I've really enjoyed about hosting the program as well. Everyone is, kind of seeing all your successes. People that, hadn't published a poem ever, suddenly publishing their first poem. Some of you reading for the very first time, and being witness to that. And those of you who published your first books while you've been here, your subsequent books in the past 5 years, that's been a real joy for me to be witness to that process and you sharing those successes with us and with all of us. So congrats to everybody for how you persevered through these 5 years and made things happen using the power of poetry. Well, our next reader, David Brydges, one of the few folks who has filled in for me when I've not been able to be here, and thank you very much. Appreciate that, of course.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it, Sandy. In a sea of shipwrecks, Cultivating Voices has been a very welcoming lifeboat for all of us. Moonstone Art Center in Philadelphia has accepted this poem for their Chaos, Crisis, Conflict anthology. Out with Rage. Plato believed the good was the first archetypal form. Virtue is its embodied emanation. Today, evil is disguised in a suit and tie. Its automated army of submissives helps sell pure snake oil, bottled as the people's perfume. In the garden of greed, since the executive branch bends with the weight of excessive top-heavy power. We are in the great man theory of history era where one personality dominates and deletes stories seditiously clinging to the lips of the unimpressed. Lady Democracy has temporarily lost her diverse voice. Amidst the bombastic barrage, our multi-rich history is being erased by narrow truth violators who are trying to colonize our minds. Diversity is our strength, not its annihilation. It is being destroyed by the supremacists who commit crimes against our common humanity. Across the ages, the good calls out its classic message. Its untainted power of divine thought cannot be silenced or censored by lower level thugs who manipulate the masses, suffocating in secular sewage. These times demand we are not just poets, but witnesses to the lost light. The light of poetry is everywhere, and it is spoken by the good. Any manufactured darkness will not extinguish it. Let's heed the wisdom of resistance fighter Viola Desmond when she prophetically places her spirit into our waiting hearts. Do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good that overwhelm the world. May we live this truth and overwhelm our world with goodness.
I can hear my mom clapping in the kitchen.
Thanks.
And the door is shut to my room. Thank you. I love that message so much. Yeah, that's so great. And congratulations. I'm really glad that poem's getting published. That's fantastic. That's David Brydges, everyone. All right, folks, I'm trying to keep things moving along. My co-host of last Tuesdays with Sandy and Thomas A. Thomas, and of course, we'll be doing that show from LA on Tuesday night, and and carousing with each other in LA this upcoming week. Thank you. Thanks for everything, Thomas.
And Risa Denenberg is here in the room today.
Oh, hey.
Oh my. Well, Cultivating Voices Live certainly changed the direction of my life for the good. I count it as a turning point. And so I'm just going to read a poem that my world debuted here, and through the magic of Cultivating Voices, somebody in Sri Lanka heard it and said, send this to my publisher where I'm an editor. And magically it was published online from Australia. So truly this is a turning point and a global connection for me. And it's in a time. There are times when I feel trapped in time. And this is one of those times. The year 2020, a time in the impossible future I expected not to be alive to see. And the month is August, and August is the month and time of litany. It is the month of my one wedding, the month of gaining a son who could have been 31. It is the month of our first walk along the salt shore together and of my beloved's first illness, harbinger of worse to come. Month of our lost mortgage, of bankruptcy, August of learning my only brother had renal cell carcinoma, would follow my father to that hard darkness so soon. The month of disability determination, August of a diagnosis at last, terribly final as it is. And it is still the month berries ripen along humid vines, corn ears swell in steamy fields as fawns fatten out of their spots, gorging on clover blossoms and dandelion blooms, as seal pups bask between fishing lessons, as fingerlings flash to avoid shadows, as kingfisher young learn not to make shadows as they dive. It is the month apples begin to blush at the thought of falling. Time of joy upon joy, joy upon sorrow, time of sorrow, time of love upon love upon love.
That's Thomas A. Thomas, and Thomas is one of those folks whose books just came out, and My Heart Is Not Asleep from Moonpath Press. I love Moonpath, and I'm not sure if Lana Heckman Ayers is here today. I haven't been able to see who all is in the room yet, but yeah, so congrats there, and boy, have you contributed some incredibly memorable readings here with us on Cultivating Voices. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. It's our next gift away. Kim.
Okay, so the random thing now is I'm going to count 5 to my right, not counting you and me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Amy Ash, you are our next winner. What is the prize, Sandy?
Oh my gosh, folks. Last June, we did our very first hybrid. We focused on hybrid. It was Julie Marie Wade, Lauren Russell, Sylvia Pollack, who is here with us today, and Erin Malone. You'll be receiving Julie Marie Wade's Otherwise, the book of essays she read from on that program, signed copy. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I love this book. You're going to love it. It's incredible. And thank you, Amy. It's so nice. It's so great to see you. All right, friends. Person I got to meet in Washington at the Take a Stand Against Hate reading in October. The book came out during the pandemic. This was another reading from it, but it had come out early in the pandemic. There's a number of people who are contributors to that anthology here in the room with us today, and I got to meet Laura Gerard. So, it was a really incredible meeting, and I'm really glad you're here today.
Thanks, Sandy, so much. And I hate to have to clarify, but I have to be honest that I was not actually published in that anthology. Phoebe just asked me to come and read that day. Which I was really privileged to come and do, but so happy to meet you in person there, and happy 5th anniversary. I'm going to read a poem from a published manuscript about my multiple myeloma experience. I feel that some of these survival poems are very apt for what's happening in our country when we feel that we're not in control. So this is called The More Minutes I Find Prismatic, the Less Dark My Attic. When I turned, I lamented to an older friend that I had not yet married or started a family. I whined, I'm ready for my life to begin. He asked me something I've not forgotten. Have you considered that this is your life? Always going forward, I did not adopt this viewpoint. I was the ultimate checklist crosser offer, the what's next discontented. It took a cancer crisis to develop internal infrared vision and see life in the dark. Life doesn't begin after certain things happen. Life won't start again when I'm well. It's happening right now, no matter my waiting for an all clear or a death knell. It would be wise to notice the brilliance in motion, an ekphrastic rainbow framing the mountain-bordered lake, a wisp of blonde hair falling onto my husband's face, a pair of bald eagles circling thermals above my head, illuminating the black pearls in my chest. I do not know what the Bible chance holds. Future focus deprives me of this moment. Should my life be shortened, I don't want to miss my everyday birth presence. I want to live the happiest I can now, even when not knowing that everything is going to be okay. And I need only to laugh deeply to define what's essential, spontaneous, eruptive joys that rinse my mind of uncertainty and radiate worry within me. Thank you. This was published online on oncolink.org, where I have a regular writing called Poetry That Fits, and I'll put that in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow. Great reading. I love the title of that poem. If you counted how many times I've said prismatic on this program. Right, Kim? Thank you so much. Well, our next reader, I was just saying in the green room before, how much I've really been enjoying hearing Nayma read on different platforms and when I've gotten to see her here. So I'm just really thrilled that you're here to be part of the celebration today. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, happy birthday, Cultivating Voices, and it's a pleasure to be here. Noritor, there is no return to Safi, because now it is Safi, a word to express enough that it could ever be enough. When I feasted on you through its streets and cafes, through the craggy coves and bloodlit bars, the light twisting and turning like blood, swirling, burning in the buried recall of the heart, where once its roads ran like rivers of red and green, magnificently magnified exaltations, unabashed, uncontainable ululations, a nation's pride exploding in an anthem of bellowing beeps, making moon eyes over the seafood platter, smiling as we snuck the cat, a prawn, riding the glorious crest of that dawn, the richness of comfort, making us fatter. I have abandoned the throne above the sea, its living surface ablaze with bejeweled grandeur, the bogus queen with illusions of grandeur, never believing such beauty could deceive. I will not return to your hopeless dream, which trespassed its hope on the heart and dared me to aspire to the stars as the heavens fell apart at the seams. I will not stroll on her dazzling beaches, where you gently cupped and kissed my hand, where my name lays buried in the sand. The breeze carrying away hope's pieces. I will erase you from all maps that lead to you. Perhaps I may hear your name on another's lips, and reminisce retrieves you, and the heart skips, but the heart's folly will find no pathway back to you. Thank you.
Mesmerizing. Mesmerizing. It always is. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Well, this is one for the ages. Folks, we are at the top of the hour. And for the next few minutes, I've invited a few people to come on to read a poem in memoriam of a poet that is a member of Cultivating Voices who passed during the past 5 years. I'm going to begin, and then we're going to go to Martha Lovett Cullen, followed by Mary Oishi, and then Dor Siefer, who will be reading poems. They'll each be reading one poem. I wanted to read a poem of Evean Boland's because, for a couple reasons, and Evean Boland passed away in late April 2020. I, of course, was in Missoula. Liza and Anita probably remember this day. I was working, and Liza said, an Irish poet's died. Something's, everything's, there's a lot of messages coming through. And I was like, oh, that's too bad. And then, and then I discovered who it was. And I knew because of the pandemic and because Evean Boland had just finished her term as the editor of Poetry Ireland Review and her stature in Ireland, I knew it was going to be a devastating, devastating blow to really poets everywhere. I truly believe that Evean should have won the Nobel Prize for Literature at some point. That's how much I hold her work in high esteem. We ended up doing an immediate tribute to her the first Sunday that came up, and the following year on the 1-year anniversary, we had a more choreographed, curated reading. Well, Marian Lovett, Marian's daughter is going to be reading a poem by Marian in a moment. The first Christmas in 2020, December, Marian sent me Evean's book, her final collection, published posthumously, The Historians. I felt in a way to honor Evean and how we'd been honoring her in those early years, and as well for my connection with Marian, I wanted to read this poem called The Fire Gilder. It's the first poem in the collection. She loved silver, she loved gold, my mother. She spoke about the influence of metals, the congruence of atoms, the art classes where she learned these things. Think of it, she would say, as she told me to gild any surface, a master craftsman had to meld gold with mercury, had to heat both so one was volatile, one was not, and to do it right, had to separate them and then burn mercury until it fled and left behind a skin of light. The only thing, she added, but what came after that I forgot. What she spent a lifetime forgetting could be my subject. The fenced-in small towns of Leinster, The coastal villages where the language of the sea was handed on, phrases bruised by storms, by shipwrecks, but isn't. My subject is the part wishing plays in the way villages are made to vanish, in the way I learned to separate memory from knowledge, so one was volatile, one was not, and how I started writing, burning light, building heat, until all at once I was the fire gilder, ready to lay radiance down, ready to decorate it happened with it never did, when all at once I remember what it was she said. The only thing is, it is extremely dangerous. That's Evean Boland from The Historians. It is a gift I cherish. I have this book next to me all the time here. And now I'd like to introduce Martha Lovett Cullen, who will be reading a poem of her mom's.
Thank you so much, Sandy. And I want to say happy birthday to Cultivating Voices, and also just a huge thank you to everybody here for giving my mum the space to share her work. It was just such a refuge for her, and she absolutely adored it. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that she found the group and was able to kind of, yeah, have the space to pursue her writing. I'm going to read a poem that was actually the last poem that my mum wrote before she passed away. And we actually read it at her funeral because it really encapsulated just her view on life. And it's quite simple, but it's also very, I think it's impactful just in, it's very her. And it means a lot to me. And I think that she would have wanted to read it if she was still here. So, yeah, it's untitled, but in the park this evening, I walked home, savoring the late summer, even while my heart felt the strain of every step. Still, though, good to smell the air, see the dogs cavort, so many of them in St. Patrick's Park, strutting and flirting and playing. One dog, a hairy, over-eager beaver type, a lolling German shepherd, jumped into the half-filled fountains, then shook himself all over one squealing, ecstatic little girl. I took a breather, sat for minutes, taking it all in. The chimes of the cathedral bell, the doggy antics, the 14-year-olds gossiping as they braided each other's hair. Some red poppies still hanging around in the biodiversity area. So many different shades of green, probably 20 species of trees, all lovely. May have heard some bees, but only intermittent these days. Most bees are solo players and not necessarily enthralled to a single queen. Life and trees and bees and youth and dogs. This world, so beautiful for a time, the more so before we leave it.
That's Martha Lovett Cullen reading her mom Marian's poem. Yeah, Kim and I were in Sligo in April, and Marian met us there. It was a surprise. We didn't know she was going to be the incredible, well, we knew she was an amazing human, but we didn't know she was going to be our ambassador that day and meet us as we walked into the hotel. There she was. And it's a day I'll never forget. And my hope is that in the next 5 years, when 5 years from now, I hope there's a book of her poems in the world for all of us. So we'll stay in touch around that, Martha.
Absolutely, yeah. And I know she would have loved to have shared it with the world, and we want to share it with the world. So it's in the pipeline. So I will let you know when a bit more progress is made on that. But yeah, I hope everybody will read it. And yeah, my mum just loved the group so much, and yeah, I'm just so grateful. So thank you.
Thank you for being here, and yeah, thank you for sharing her voice that she shared with us so many times. And it we also have recordings of her reading, of course, and that's from the devotion of Don Krieger, making sure that that happens. And I really cherish those videos, of course. Well, another poet that we lost during this time, this past 5 years, read with us in a special event that we had. The date was May 16th, 2021. How do I remember that so specifically? Well, I can look anything up, but I also remember it because later that day, I had to euthanize my cat after the program. So it's forever in my memory that day. But it's forever in my memory because of who was on the program that day. It was a conversation between 3 Asian American women poets, intergenerational conversation with Tanya Kohong, Mary Oishi, and Janice Mirikitami. And Janice had been an extraordinary influence. She was the second poet laureate of San Francisco. One of our first kind of nationally known Asian American poets to like really hold the mantle for those voices. And we did not know when she was on the program, with all her fierceness and her power, that she was actually quite ill. And she died in July. She was on the program in May. And it is very likely that Cultivating Voices was one of her last poetry appearances. I've asked Mary Oishi, who was instrumental in bringing Janice to the program and to Cultivating Voices that day, to read a poem of hers. And just a reminder, we followed up with a program when I discovered that the University of Washington had put out a new and selected poems by Janice Mirikitami while I was at a reading on Bainbridge Island. The book is Awake in the River and Shedding Silence, two of her collections, and new poems as well, that we were able to do a posthumous reading special event from this with the editor of that book, Sean Wong. So, Mary, thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing our love for Janice today.
Thank you for asking me. I'm really honored. I admired Janice for decades, both as a poet and as a social justice a person very committed to that. And so I'm very honored to read here today. I admired her long before we became friends. So this is a poem from one of her books, We the Dangerous. I swore it would not I swore it would not devour me. I swore it would not humble me. I swore it would not break me. And they commanded we dwell in the desert, our children be spawn of barbed wire and barracks. We, closer to the earth, squat, short-thighed, knowing the dust better. And they would have us make the garden, rake the grass to soothe their feet. We, akin to the jungle, plodding with the snake, tails shedding in civilized America. And they would have us skin their fish, deft hands like blades sliding back flesh, bloodless. We who awake in the river, ocean's child, whale eater. And they would have us strange scented women, round shouldered, strong and yellow like the moon, to pull the thread to the cloth, to loosen their backs massaged in myth. We who fill the secret bed, the sweatshops, the laundries, and they would dress us in napalm, skin shred to clothe the earth, bodies filling pockmarked fields, dead fish bloating our harbors, we the dangerous, dwelling in the ocean, akin to the jungle, close to the earth, Hiroshima, Vietnam, Tule Lake, and yet we were not devoured, and yet we were not humbled, and yet we are not broken. Janice Mirikitami. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, everyone, for this wonderful, wonderful day.
Thank you. That's Mary Oishi reading Janice Mirikitami. And the book is Awake in the River, Shedding Silence. There's a foreword by Juliana Chang, and the editor is Sean Wong of the series of Classics of Asian American Literature at the University of Washington Press. I also want to say Mary Oishi came to us via John Roche and Jules Nyquist when she was appointed as Poet Laureate of Albuquerque. And I remember John saying, Sandy, you're going to be so excited when you hear who the poet is. You're going to love this poet. And he couldn't have said truer words. And Mary has been with us not just on the program with Janice, which in my mind is kind of, I love all the programs, but that one is just a program that just is really the program when I think I'm really the proudest of that program in many, many ways. Also, Mary's first appearance was in our Laureate Love Fest in February of 2021. Kim and I worked with the Olympia Poetry Network. There we go. We collaborated with the Olympia Poetry Network. And for months, we worked on that amazing, amazing program. And Mary was one of the poet laureates featured in that program and has been with us on many other readings. So thank you. And her latest book from the University of New Mexico Press, who, as a result of when you're a laureate there, publishes a book that's part of your laureateship is Sidewalk Cruise Ship from University of New Mexico Press. Thank you, Mary, for everything. We love you. Our next reader, I asked to read a poem in honor of Kevin Higgins, who's one of my salmon brothers. And Kevin came on a few months also before he passed and read on our program from his book Ecstatic. And this is a portrait of him on the cover as well. I was able to meet him in Galway only once. As a very, very iconic meeting. I met Morag Anderson that night. So many people. Ann Walsh Donnelly that night. Just a whole array of folks. Attractive Faye I met that night. It was an incredible, incredible evening. And I've asked Dor Siefer to come and read a poem of Kevin's for us today. Thank you so much, Dor. Founder and host of Lime Square Poets, possibly my favorite program in the world. Don't tell the people at Cultivating Voices that.
Thank you so much, Sandy. It's an honor to be here to read Kevin's work. I studied with Kevin. He was my first poetry teacher, and he was a wonderful, wonderful teacher. Everyone should have a Kevin in their life, and a fantastic poet. known for his political and literary satire, which is just brilliant. And also for his other work. I was sent 2 poems from his collection that's coming out in April. It's being launched on April 27th in Galway, and they're both fantastic. I chose this poem because it's one of Kevin's fantastic poems that is not in the vein that he is most known for, which are also fantastic poems. He's just a tremendous poet and a very kind person. So this is Disappointment by Kevin Higgins, and it's after Ernest Bloch. Disappointment. Every saint loses their halo in learning to walk on earth. Every hope its aura in coming to life. Overthrow with your tiny, insistent why any gold or silver-plated gods who block your way. Be everything you wish, especially that for which you don't have permission. And embrace disappointment as the necessary shortfall of the wished-for thing becoming itself. Make the world rather than be made by it. That's Kevin Higgins.
That is Kevin Higgins. Dor has a new book that's just been launched on being /able to walk through walls from Revival Press. Congratulations. You'll be coming onto the program with us in September. We will be bringing the editor of Kevin's posthumous collection to Cultivating Voices also, I believe, in the fall. So, folks, you know, the reason I wanted to have this brief interlude in the open mic with all of you is, you know, these were folks who shared their work, and we all hope that our work will outlive us and continue on. And this seemed to be a way to demonstrate a way for that to happen, you know, by honoring these voices that we had heard, and to continue to let their voices ring loud and true. That poem of Kevin's is a true anthem of our time, I believe. And also, he's timeless, and he will remain timeless. Thank you so much, Dor. Folks, Dor with Lauren O'Donovan, co-hosts of Lime Square Poets on Thursdays. It's 8 o'clock in Limerick and Cork on Thursdays, but over here in the States, Eastern time, that's usually 3 o'clock. So I love it. If you've never participated, it's the warmest, most fantastic open mic. I love the open mic, and the open mics in Ireland, especially out of Limerick. I have a little place in my heart for them. Thank you so much, Dor.
And we love this one. Thank you so much, Sandy.
Well, folks, let us go back to the open mic, and it's so fitting that the next person reading is the one, the only. I know, Kim, we can't stay in our seats for this one. Matt Mooney.
Thank you, Sandy, for that lovely introduction. And what could I bring with me tonight? Only a special poem, very short one, because it is special because it will be the title of my collection of poems, my next collection of poems, coming out as Writers Week, published by Revival. And the title of the book will be The Moon and Bonin, and that's the title poem that I am also offering as my contribution tonight to the birthday party for Cultivating Voices, and congratulations. Just to explain that to anybody who wouldn't understand the colours in Irish colour, bone is white. So it's self-explanatory. There's actually a jacket you wear as well, very famous from the Connemara and the islands, the Aran Islands point of view, the Bonine, because it's white. But this is a cat who got to be named Bonine for obvious reasons. The moon and Bonine. The furtive, husky-coated white cat in the moonlight, on the lookout for scraps of food we put out for her. Above, the crew-cut neck of the woods is silhouetted. A full moon steals over Cullen on a frosty night. My daughter meanders out, moon-gazing at midnight, calling out in her delight at being brushed by Bonine. The white orb in the sky, below a stray bundle of joy, each on high and low pats, one up over, one nearby, tracking their trajectories. Siobhan is held to ransom by cat and moon. Breaking their grip, she slips inside. Happy birthday, Cultivating Voices.
That is the singular, unforgettable Matt Mooney. We had the joy, Kim and I, really one of the highlights of our lives, probably, to meet Matt Mooney in person, have a meal, and please give our best to Mary, of course.
Yes.
And have an evening of live music in the pub.
Yes.
Oof.
And the best moment was when both of you landed out of the blue for the first time, meeting you in person in the square in the old County Kerry.
We'll never forget it, and I hope to return. Kim, I'm sure, does too as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt Mooney. Many memorable readings by Matt Mooney over the 5 years, and in the early weeks of Cultivating Voices, very early weeks of Cultivating Voices. I'm going to do our next. I'm going to do our next gift away because it. And what is that, Kim? Is it Dawn?
Okay, let me find it.
Okay, sorry.
It's quite busy over here. Okay, so we have a prize for that will take me a minute to find, so I'll find that for the next prize. So Don, on your screen, go to the last page and count 5 over from the bottom right-hand square and tell us who you find.
He's got to get to his seat first.
Oh, we can't hear you, Don. Take your time. The drum roll, the drum roll.
5 over from where?
From the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. What have you got?
Patrick Lodge.
Patrick
Lodge!
Lodge!
You are receiving
Gosh.
the amazing, amazing selected poems, 1986 to 1996, Outside History, Evean Boland.
Well, that's marvelous.
That is marvelous.
Fabulous. Congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you for your contributions to Cultivating Voices. I remember your very first reading as well, and the subsequent ones, and also your new book showcase. Thank you. Well, we're going to turn it over now, actually, to Don Krieger as our next reader. And then I'm going to have Don do a gift away also that he has after he reads. Thank you, Dot.
Okay, great. I have one brief comment and a brief fragment of a poem. The comment is actually something I wrote more than 10 years ago. It was entitled Sunday Writers. Your voices are familiar. I remember little else. I don't want to. I want to hear you fresh. Something playful, something beautiful, something personal, something awkward. I want to hear a familiar stranger move all of us with who you are today.
Mm, 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 mm.
And then I wanted to read this 2 of the 10 portions of this piece for International Women's History Month. It's from a piece entitled Cassandra, Daughter of Troy.
Mm.
The fulcrum of fate. Take me, Cassandra, else you will never be believed. Apollo. That day we washed, girls, in a sand pool near the river mouth. First our clothes, then each other. I lived that moment 1,000 times, as an infant and as a child, when I chose for myself, for my sisters, and for Greece. At first step into the water, the cold of it rippled through us, and he was there, perfect, but only his manly torso. For though the faces of Zeus's children are beautiful, Apollo is hideous for the cruel meanness which would compel a girl, and for his utter reliance on his gifts. No one has understood that I bore his curse because he lived as coward and failed as God. And then the closing piece, Farewell. I am Cassandra, cursed princess of Troy. I had wealth and station, but like those before me, and the multitude since, only through men who wanted me. Apollo was mine, the towering perfection of him, the glories of the gods' mistress. I could not bear it, subject body and soul to a coward, even a god. Had I taken him, Troy lives an extra month. I have a daughter, and Agamemnon takes her. No, I chose instead to deny both beasts and bear the curse, to live mute with my lucid vision, my wit and freedom transmuted to a weapon wielded to shield the unborn. Tell my story to all who will listen. Though straight from me, you can only write as has always been for us, through a glass darkly, for we still have power only through men. That battle goes on, and though my sight remains, this time the choice of fate is not mine. I only know our power grows, and so too man's cowardice.
And you're going to do the next gift away for us.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, I've got that. I swapped them because I had to go do some counting. I found the 5th comment in the chat on a poem. That was what we agreed to. And that is, or on the program in general. And that was Suzanne Edison. Congratulations,
Edison,
Suzanne.
congratulations. And you are going to be receiving from Don Krieger, actually, has donated a copy of. Go ahead, tell us. Yep, show it. Tell us.
Yeah, I need to Let me just do this. It'll just take an instant. There we go. So now you can see the book. We in America. This book is actually free to download, but I also set up something where you can print the download on 8.5 by 11 paper. But this is a full color print from Lulu, which I'll send you, and it's a bunch of essays, poems, and photographs. It's really came out nice.
Thank you, Don.
It's been downloaded 43,000 times so far.
Amazing, amazing. Well, it's Suzanne Edison. Suzanne also given wonderful, wonderful reading in our new book showcase. So glad for you to get a little love back your way, my friend. All right, our next reader, back to the open mic, is Eelka Lampe. Great to have you with us. Thank you for your memorable readings with us. And here's another one.
Thanks so much, Sandy, and congratulations to the anniversary and to you and your entire team. And I picked one that I wrote 5 years ago at the beginning of the pandemic, and I thought that might be fitting for today's celebration. Fighting This, inspired by Nazim Hikmet's On Living. I will keep fighting this, she wrote in her email to all of us. Do you mean the virus? I mean, are you sick and fighting to get better? Or are you working in a hospital now, fighting to keep others alive? Of course, it could be both. The absurdity of it all. How sick, how exhausted does a nurse have to be to stay away, to stop fighting for others? What can we do to fight for them? Make sure they get the personal protective equipment, PPE, to keep them alive so they can keep others alive. How often have you seen this in the latest apocalyptic movie? Now it's right at our doorstep. Billy, the mailman, brings 2 masks for us just so we can shop at Mr. Lime without infecting anybody, just in case we got it, just so that we won't get it, just in case she got it, or just in case he got it and does not wear a mask. At 7 p.m. each night, we clap and clonk and drum and howl for the healthcare workers from our windowsill. And you do the same across the street. I and you and they, we can keep fighting this.
So it's so poignant and so powerful to have those poems that were written in 5 years ago. I really appreciate us being able to reflect that way through poetry. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward, of course, to the next time we're together.
Thank you, Sandy. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Josephine LoRe, I could take up 2 hours talking about you, and I'm going to take very few seconds. I think she knows what I'm about to say. Josephine LoRe's first very memorable reading was when we were doing Facebook Live and people came on to read for 15 minutes. And folks, it was difficult. It wasn't the easiest thing to use. And she was upside down in the whole reading.
Yeah.
Was it sideways or upside down?
Sideways, because of my
Sideways.
Yes.
Yeah. So imagine today Josephine reading like this. That's what she did for a whole 15 minutes. And we all watched enraptured because she has one of the most elegant, melodious, lyrical voices in the world. Take it away.
Thank you so much. And it's wonderful to be here for this birthday party. I would like to quickly acknowledge the lands where I live, home to a number of Indigenous peoples, Piikani, Tsuut'ina, Nakota, Kainai, Siksika, and their descendants in the Métis peoples, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I would like to read a poem that I wrote when I was traveling last year in Portugal, and it's called Among Us. They mingle among us, our dead, in the aftershave of the passerby, the laughter of that woman on the bus. They are in the red and yellow hibiscus that line the drive up to the door of the Alkites Hotel in Portimao, in the shape from behind of a grandmother on the beach, in the longing of the fado guitar, the yearning of the voice, in the marisco, fresh caught seafood stew seasoned with roadside fennel, just like my mother would have made it, in the hard-boiled egg that waits, wrapped in a napkin at the bottom of my azulejo bag to be cracked and shelled, in the white-bellied swallows, curving and turning, carving slow, lazy figure eights under the slow-moving Atlantic sun. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for everything. You're the person I am most shocked I have not met in person yet.
Hopefully it'll be soon. You'll have to come to my place, though. I don't know if I'm allowed in your place anymore.
I understand. Trust me,
Yeah.
I understand. And I'd be all too happy to live for
Thank you.
Thank you. My partner in crime in Olympia, Terri Cohlene, is next. And Terri was one of those intrepid people that helped us put on the Laureate Love Fest that we had in February. Was also part of our 100th anniversary for women's suffrage special event. Big shout out for that too. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. It was great, a great delight to work on those projects. And of course, we have many more down the road. So I brought a poem today that is based on experience I had just a couple weeks ago. It's called Taking the 2-Hour Drive from Olympia to the Beach. After the inauguration, after the chaos and fear that we will no longer have a democracy, that our nation will no longer exude leadership, integrity, compassion, we are feeling nostalgic for the good old days of COVID, when all we had to worry about was dying, masking up, avoiding crowds, wondering whether we had enough toilet paper. So, like in those days, we decide to drive to the beach. Luckily, we can afford to fill up the tank this time. We head west, leave the notion that nothing is sacred, that every day we wake to discover something solid, familiar, has been violated, like we are the good guys. There will always be pennies. Prisons are for bad people. There is truth in the world, like gravity. We pass scattered barns, RVs, dilapidated sheds, leaking roofs covered in blue tarps. We enter the cut through the rainforest, its soaring red-tailed hawks, bald eagles. We follow humming power lines, carrying energy, images, information we may not want to hear. Towering cedars alternate between welcome and warning. We navigate the small town, still holding on to Kurt Cobain's pain. Cross the puzzle of bridges opening up to the dunes. In the drizzle, beneath the weight of dark clouds, sinking ever closer, we cruise into the dreary little beach town, try to remember why this seemed like such a good idea. Then we turn right, know immediately the importance of this place. Yes, ahead is the good news we desperately need. Hear the roar, smell the salt, see the waves. Yes, in spite of everything, the Pacific is still here.
Wow, that is a great poem, Terri. Thank you very, very much. I can't wait to have you read it to me again in person. Oh my gosh. Folks, our next reader, I'm moving things along because I'm aware of the clock now. Clive Oseman, great to have you with us. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, so something a bit different as usual from me. And it goes like this. Dear British Chess Federation, or should that be Brutish Chess Federation? I think the game you promote needs a massive overhaul to bring it into the 21st century. I used to enjoy the game, and I have to say that is a painful confession. I pray every night that I will not go to hell. It's bad enough living in Swindon without having the afterlife ruined in a similar way because of a mistake I made as a naive kid. Let's examine it, shall we? It's black against white. White always has the privilege of moving first, immediately putting the black pieces at a disadvantage. But that's not all, is it? Let's face it, the Queen does a lot of the running around, while the King only ever moves one square at a time unless the spineless bastard's bolting into his castle for safety. I would say entering his rook, but that sounds depraved even on royal standards. Also, where is Prince Andrew? Nowhere to be seen. Pizza Express probably, or maybe in some sort of club alongside the like-minded bishops. Anyway, the King does fuck all, except watch the pawns suffer. But if he gets killed, that's it, game over. Yet the busy Queen can die and is sometimes even deliberately sacrificed, and no one really gives a shit. Did you see that Queen sacrifice? Sheer genius. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. It disgusts me. Modernise. Replace kings and queens and bishops and all that bollocks with TV personalities, newsreaders, reality TV star, cartoon animal, etc. Go for less provocative colours, blue and yellow stripes taking on magenta, for example, with no one making the first move. That way, no one gets killed. There are no misogynistic sacrifices, and onlookers just as quickly fall asleep, thus nullifying any claims that the game has gone woke. I hope I have pricked your extremely bigoted consciences and forced you into action. I challenge you to a game of restructured chess, where my first move, were I allowed to make one, would be Muppet to Hairy Biker 4. Thank you in advance for bringing chess into the modern age by adopting my principles. I expect a knighthood, which will of course be renamed a quiz show hosthood, for my services to your pathetic little war game. Checkmate. Thank you.
Wow. Kevin Higgins would love that poem. Kevin Higgins would love that poem. Yep. Oh, yes. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Clive. Bring them anytime. I love it. Thank you. We go to West Cork, to a person who never, I like to think you never miss a program. And I don't even know how it's possible because you travel and read more than I do. Catherine Ronan. Yep.
I learned from the best, Sandy. You're an inspiration. And this is what I call my tribe. And like, it's such friendships have arisen from this group. It's just amazing. And of course, the support that you give people. And like I was on the new book showcase with my book, the first one, 2024. And it's a huge honor. And it's like that support means an awful lot. Anyway, that's the one good thing to come out of COVID. The local became global, the global became local, and we all became friends in this tribe. So I'm going to read one of my poems that I really like myself, and it's about the deity Brydges, and as it's, you know, Women's Month and all that. Brydges. Cupped flame of sunbeams and snow, cosmic power of renewal, oak sap rises to kiss your fingers, spring tides bathe your feet. Your sketched moon, fractured sun, first flower of spring in a druid's fist, born between two thresholds, you hold the hand of all labours. Our Mary of the Gale, we tie magic ribbons and rags to your holy wish trees, sing songs over ancient rivers. Protector of poets, smiths, healers, we kneel before your mantle of stars. Brydges, carried from Iona to Bethlehem, you inhale the dark, exhale the light. Light be with you.
That's Catherine Ronan. The book is Elemental Skin. We, from Revival Press, we had a great time with you also when we saw you in Cork and in Cove for our Titanic special in 2024, which we'll be bringing Titanic back to all of you next year in 2026. Stay tuned for that. The anniversary is coming up next month also. We go over to the beautiful, beautiful bay of San Francisco. Jeff Kalis.
Thank you. And the sun is shining today, no fog. We were so happy to have Sandy here, actually on the other side of the bay in Berkeley, radiant and commanding the room, whatever room she's in. Happy orbit to Cultivating Voices. The extended family values here of respect and creativity, I think, are what are going to get us through our next 3 3/4 years. Thank you so much. The same, of course, we get with Lime Square. And I'm following on Josephine and her nod to Fado. This poem was prompted by a song from Angola, where they also speak Portuguese and have beautiful music. And I'll post a link to the song that this is based on. It's called Chegando. A song born moist into morning, growing up through the light of an Angolan day, till it's embraced by a scented dusk and set free to dance to us, swaying with a drumming destiny, a citric twang of guitar, a mustard wail of accordion, and the warm wording of my man in that place, Paulo Flores, his melody crying happiness. Es llegar ahora, toda gente vai cantar. The time has come, he tells us, for all people to sing out now. All will dance, all will shout Angola. Yes, we move with Paulo in all this, because he makes this place, this time, this sound our own. We all want it all with him. He heralds their arrival, the kids from all these place names on the map inside our dreams, Huila, Villa Alice, and of course, Sao Paulo de Asunción de Luanda, whose 6 words now number some 6 million souls. They're whispering with zephyrs of the old times, breathing with the smiling of their children, sucking the sweetness of the figs, surfing on the hope of the harbor, letting go lamenting with the thrumming of masemba. Then old Besenganya, she pours for them the potency of palms, left over from an ancient round of joy, and in the now, the chorus of creation joins in Paulo's chant of invitation. Como pulo de sua boca, destapel de sua roupa, Dios hombre de más bello, esconcide set aprello, os a voz do coração, del amor educação, Santa Sol na sua estera, ilha de brincadeira. Ah. Hear them waking with the feeling, eat the breakfast of their being, ride the shoulders of the elders, raising them above the boulders, learn to listen to the heart, practice loving as an art, and together play this game. You and I are all the same. Thank you all for listening.
I love how you bring music and poetry, the lyric and the music together always. I adore it. I absolutely adore it. Thank you so much, Jeff. And I really can't wait to come back to Berkeley and see you.
Thank you for your wonderful ears. We want you back.
Next, Patrick Lodge. Oh, I remember your first reading too because of your hat. I always pay attention to people's hats. And then what followed, of course, were your poems.
Was the hat better than the poem?
No. No. In this case, no. And yeah, and really amazing new book showcases. Thank you.
Ben Bloyd Happis, as they say in the land of my birth. Happy anniversary. Before COVID, I used to spend quite a lot of time on the west coast of Mallorca. COVID really put pay to that, but I stayed in a house called Can Freixas, and this poem is called Can Freixas. A kingfisher flies out of the trees, as complete as a telescope closing in on itself with a snap. It hits the window hard, drops. In my hand it lies, gaudy, useless as a lost evening purse. It's the bird's absence I feel, palpable. In the garden, where goodbyes hung like condolences, hugs were straight-jacket embraces. The empty air still holds the drag of blue light, a rolling bolt of silk like a neon ripple, a memory, a slick feathering of the lemon tree leaves, wet with sour rain, dropping like tears down a pietà. You drove from Can Freixas, looking back in your wing mirrors, the ones that say, careful, objects might be nearer than they appear. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, everybody. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. That's Patrick Lodge. Another great reading. Thank you. And now to Max Vanderstein. Oh, again, all the memories coming up, folks. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you so much, Max, for all the contributions you've made.
Thank you, Sandy. Happy birthday to Cultivating Voices. All the family here together, 5 candles now burning strong. What a wonderful, wild, and emotional ride it's been. Excuse me. I'd like to share a poem that is included in a chapbook produced and published by the School of Poets here in Edmonton. The chapbook's called Kinspeak, and it's a collection of poems written from the perspective of our animal friends who are living and coping in today's world, written in a first person perspective. And my poem is called Coyote Trails. My wisdom cast its trickery I am a discerning teacher, mystical kin creator, coyote, trickster, but not easily fooled. I am survivor, adapter, notable legend. I am primeval dog, neither fear nor vile, nor ever man's best friend. With golden coat, bushy tail, and amber eyes reflecting either day or dusky skies, my daunting trail long led, ere it crossed and also followed biped appearances in our biomes. Yet then my haunting wail hallowed by apartheid hunting grounds and homes. I moonshadow prowl and scrounge, slyly stalk or sometimes scavenge, wild game, carrion, random refuse, pets, or hapless livestock indiscriminately. Mostly, I prey alone all night on filth, left by shameful human duplicity. Though I grow bold on thy easy pickings, I lament the loss of my territory, like dense scented forests, open grasslands, and dwindling number of natural quarry. I run now from forest and prairie fires, from deadly machines and bloodthirsty men, and from plastics, pollutants, and poisons pervading deep our common environs. Conjointly consigned forthwith, I dream, though I hate them that I must live thusly, lest bipeds attend to misdeeds. I esteem calamity soon may claim man and coyote. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Max. It's fantastic. Folks, we are at the top of the second hour, and I think there's about 10 more folks to go. I understand if folks have to leave. I am staying. I want to hear every single poem read today that a person that a person had signed up to read. So I'm going to stay. I hope as many of you can stay as possible. I will just make a few announcements here just to say, of course, we're heading into April National Poetry Month here in the United States, also in Ireland and in the UK and other places around the world. So absolutely be looking for our programming there. If you have to leave in this next, swath of probably about 30 minutes, thank you so much for being here. And let's now go to Mary Louise Kiernan, who also hosted me. We were poetry pals at the New York Poetry Festival. What a time we had there, huh?
Absolutely. So this is my anniversary message for you, Don and Kim. My dearest hosts, 5-year anniversaries are marked, whether trad or mod, with wood, silverware, daisies, pink tourmaline, and sapphire. So I have set a lyrical table for you, my hosts, who cultivated humanity through the arc of disease and through living, breathing poetry, rescued my voice. In gratitude, this poet. Happy anniversary.
Thank you so much. And I hope I'm going to see you next month. We'll be talking about what's coming. I'm going to Bedford, New York, and I hope we'll rendezvous there. Patricia Clark. Oh, again, another really memorable new book showcase. Oh my gosh. And
That's
come on.
Thank you, Sandy. That's so nice. You must be all around the world, your travels, and it's wonderful to hear where you've been. San Francisco, Missoula, New York, all over the place. I love it. And thank you so much, Kim and Don and Sandy. I think Cultivating Voices, hooray. And 5 years, that's a lot of work and a lot of organizing and a lot of time. I think it's fantastic. We need it, and we needed it during COVID. That was really terrible. I hope we're through it, but who knows what's next? We're in a really bad time. And that's all I can say. I'm not going to read a political poem. It's too depressing, I'm afraid. This is actually a poem about my father. Whenever you think you've written everything you have to say about your parents, you haven't. And then a new memory comes up or a new wrinkle or something else. So this is called What My Father Wished For. I could never say anything about my father, except he was quiet, and next to my mother he receded like a hermit crab into its shell. Is that an excuse at 17 for raising my voice against him, trying my best to goad him to anger? How can you just go to work, drive downtown day after day, arriving on time, leaving at 5? Don't you ever start asking yourself what it all means? Someone should have slapped me. I see the kitchen at Brown's Point, a round table where we sat, high cliff light over the bay, smoky stink of pulp mills, a madrona tree by the deck, sickened by sewage. He's about to drive me to Stadium High, down Snake Hill, across Tacoma's tide flats, drawbridge opening and closing like jaws for tankers heading out west to Japan, stacked high with lumber or salt, later jeeps and tanks for Vietnam. And then I badgered him too. Why can't you take a stand against the war? This hurled at my father, who'd enlisted after Pearl Harbor with his favorite brother, a brother who didn't come home from Germany. Did someone call regret permanent remorse? After my father's diagnosis, he refused to talk about death. I've had everything in life I could have wanted. When the priest came to the house, Dad sat up in bed, talking as though he'd be around for weeks, as the sunset turned salmon, then mauve over Commencement Bay. Later, he leaned in, close to me, to say, "One thing, though, I wish I'd had a sister." He told me this sotto voce when I sat alone beside him, holding his hand through the metal rails. Thanks.
I have to say the poems, I really, that word of mine, well, it's not my word, I don't own a word, but prismatic. I love hearing people's poems about their father in particular, because I'm still in my grieving process. They've been so helpful to help me process things. And yeah, I'm just really grateful for these poems, in a way that I enjoyed, well, I appreciated them, but since my father's passing, these poems that you all gift to the program, they are like soulful to me. They really, really, I'm really able to absorb them, and they're really necessary soul medicine. Thank you so much. Thank you, Patricia. Wow. Amy Ash, I am looking forward to hearing your poem today.
Thank you so much, Sandy. So I'm relatively new to the Cultivating
know,
Voices community.
that's
but
why.
I am so grateful to have found it. Thank you for creating this family, this space, and for welcoming me in. I'm going to read a poem that is a retelling of or a reflection on Hansel and Gretel. It's called What We Remember About the Story as Mothers of Daughters. Stones thrown along a rough trail in the forest, barely visible by daylight among the sedges, lichen, and moss. By evening, the moon's glow alights them faintly like teeth along the gum line of the dampened path. The unwelcomed homecoming, the abandonment again, the sawdust of promise to look for them that came from the man who cut them from his life, the chop and thud of wood they must have heard echoing in the distance instead of the sound of their names. This time, only breadcrumbs as guides. They trade hunger for hope. Mouths empty, the children drop small morsels to mark the way back. We remember how the bread is pecked away before daybreak. Even still, the children find somehow the promise of desire, delight, a whole house made of candy, sweetness they've never known. How the corners of the cottage crumbled in their eager mouths. We remember the witch, maybe a cauldron of boiling water, no, an oven, red tongue of flame. And sweet Gretel, how she learned that one way to survive in this world as a little girl is to pretend confusion. How many ways a young girl may be forced to not make her strength known. We remember the power of push, how she saved her brother, the clank of the bolt holding the oven door. What lesson emerges from this story? What do we want our daughters to remember as they are urged by others to return to abuse, to accept the fiction of happily ever after, as they walk the fraught woods of womanhood, a threat in every direction? Thank you.
Amy Ash, you are the next generation of Cultivating Voices poets here. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic reading. Thank you. Yeah, I love that you're relatively new. And again, it makes me so excited for the next 5 years to think I'm going to be hearing your poems. So thank you.
Thank you.
And you're going to love that Julie Marie Wade book. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Rachel Stanley is next, and Rachel is going to be with us in April with her new collection and in our Poets Focus, the first of National Poetry Month. Really, it's International Poetry Month. The Poets Focus is memory, and Rachel will be one of our featured readers. I adore you, and I am so glad that I got to meet you in person as well this past year.
Hello, Sandy, and happy birthday, Cultivating Voices. It's lovely to be here. Thank you, Sandy, Kim, Don. So I'm going to read one from the pandemic 2020. The pandemic year of pandemonium, faces buried behind masks, the ongoing science fiction we wish we could switch off. My daughter, a critical care nurse, sends a WhatsApp picture. She's armed and ready for battle, helmeted and goggled to the hilt, while my other daughter, a GP, tries to assess the extent of illness over the phone. 6 months later, the children returned to school amidst talk of disgraced politicians, non-practicing in their preaching, letter writers and social media warriors incandescent with rage as memories of cancelled weddings and loved ones dying alone are recalled. 6 months later, we're all in this together sounds hollow.
The power of those pandemic poems and how they bring us right back. Oh my gosh. Folks, that's Rachel Stanley. And again, we're going to get to see you in a few weeks. Yay!
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
I am ecstatic. I am ecstatic. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. You'd think I hadn't heard 10,000 poems in my life, everybody. Oh my gosh. And all of you too. You know, we are these You know, if I'm going to be a glutton for something, let it be poetry. Let it be poetry. There you go. And on that note, Billy Brown.
What?
Hello. I love you.
I love you. I still remember our warm hugs. Well, congratulations and happy birthday to, and I have a kind of a switcheroo here. Happy birthday to Undulating Choices 5 Shoetry. So there. I spent the morning at Sunday Chatter here in Albuquerque, which I often go to and bake for and write poems to the music I hear. And I was thinking about 2 different love poems to read, so I had to choose. So here's a love poem I wrote. It's a kind of a bittersweet one in response, as I was listening to a performance of Robert Schumann, Sonata number 1 in A minor. It is their last day together, a poignant, bittersweet time. She will flee with her parents, escaping the Nazis while there is still time, leaving behind their business, much of their wealth already confiscated, their son, her brother, already dismissed from his university mathematics position, is promised a position at Princeton. She, a violin prodigy, has opportunities at the New York Philharmonic, the Philadelphia, and the Chicago. He is off to fight Hitler's battles against the Soviets in the East, though in the Wehrmacht, he is totally opposed to the final solution. He'll soon desert his comrades, join the resistance. They have now but a few final hours together before parting. With wine, bread, cheese, they feed one another, fall into the straw naked in each other's arms, enjoying their passionate lovemaking with tears streaming from their eyes. Again and again, they love each other, sowing, receiving the seed which will develop into twins, a boy and a girl, with no clue what will become of their passion, uncertain whether either of them will even survive the coming Holocaust. They share an irrational, tenacious belief they will once again be together, placing their faith completely in these few hours of tender, undying love, a beautiful possibility of long shared future life. They tearfully part before dawn.
Wow. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Billy. Poetry does, it brings out, you know, the heartwarming and the heart-wrenching and everything in between. And everything in between. Folks, if you have never eaten a cookie that Billy Brown has made, go immediately, as fast as you can, to Albuquerque.
This is what I brought this morning to Sunday Chatter. Lavender chocolate chip oatmeal crisps.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, everybody. Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm planning my next trip. I don't know when it is, but I can't wait for another cookie. Okay. Thank you, Billy. Thank you. Thank you. Another person I am so glad you found Cultivating Voices is Linette Rabsatt. I'm so glad. I have marveled at your poems. I truly, truly, I love hearing your poems. I love hearing your voice. And yeah, you're a star to me. So thank you for being part of this constellation today. Maybe she left the room.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Okay. Okay.
Thank you
I'm
so
not
much.
monitoring. I'm not monitoring closely.
Thank you so much, Sandy. And big shout out to Don and to Kim. Happy birthday to the Cultivating Voices live poetry family. Thank you. This piece today is dedicated to you, to every poet, every listener, every writer on this session today. It was created based on a prompt that I found in a Facebook group. Do you mind if I touch your pen? Do you mind if I touch your pen? Because somehow you have a beautiful way with words, and you know how to use those perplexing metaphors, how to compose a drabble that often has others muddled, scrambling to meet the word count. You who create stories with climaxes and picturesque scenes that incite our fantasies, even if it's only 6 words. Igniting the paper with such beautiful phrases that perk our ears and incline our senses, even when performed or written in different languages. The poet who uses the visual spectrum to connect our eyes to our oral system, to breathe in those fantastic words that embellish our vocabulary. If I touch your pen, I am blessed to expand my reach and creativity. Thank you guys so much for being an inspiration.
And right back at you. Thank you for bringing the inspiring today to share with us. That's Linette Rabsatt. Great, great, great. Thank you. I look forward to next time, of course. I'm going to do one more gift away before we go to our last 5 readers, and there might be a 6th. I'm going to try to cajole someone who told me they weren't going to read to have them read last. You might know who you are. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do like whoever is, I just realized, like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this randomly. I'm gonna do it randomly. I'm gonna scroll through just the screens, and I'm gonna go to the 5th from the 3rd row. My gosh, believe it or not, it is. I'm doing it right now. Oh my gosh, that's great. Oh my God, it came up as my mom. My mom doesn't need one of my books, that's for sure. So I'm gonna have to do another one. My God, how ridiculous is that? Okay, I'm gonna go to the other screen then. Okay. 5th from, now I'm gonna go 4th row for me. Gary Lilly. Oh my gosh, it's Gary Lilly. Gary Lilly, thank you. I know you're not reading today, and we all are indebted to everything you've contributed over the past 5 years. You were also here in the early weeks. And thank you so much. We'll talk. You can decide which of my books you would like. I'll be in touch with you. Thank you. And now we go to another Washingtonian, Carolyn Wright.
Here we go. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me. Am I loud enough?
You are perfect.
Good. All right. Excellent. Well, I'm going to, with great happy birthday greetings to Cultivating Voices live poetry. I know I was among one of the early readers in the first couple of sessions, and I was trying to prop this tiny little cell phone that I had then up on a stand, and it kept falling over as I was trying to read. I don't know if people remember that, but it was very funny. But thank you so much for sustaining Cultivating Voices and sustaining all of us for these 5 years. And what I'm going to read today is a poem, a short poem called Crossing Great Blue Heron. It is dedicated to my dearly beloved late husband, Jim Parrott, who passed away on the 14th of January of last year. And he was an undercover poet. And he gave a number of readings and was in some anthologies, and was with me very often when we were right here listening or being part of Cultivating Voices. He would be right next to me on the on the sofa, what we call the comfy zone, listening. So thank you for this opportunity. Crossing, great blue heron. Because the great blue heron hunches in its old winter coat of shoulders on the Keystone Ferry dock piling, wind out of the northwest riffling and fraying its feathers. I can't explain my longing for home. The road that ends at the ferry slip continues underwater across the inlet and resumes on the other shore. But what about the passage in between? How will crossing it change us? How will its geologic ages make us strange to others and ourselves? On this crossing, rain is always close at hand, and we want to take the fine hands of the rain in our hands, the way the seasons hold us in their beauty. Like green explanations for our weather, which once meant everything between our setting forth and the great blue heron now soaring over the road above us and circling toward home. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I love the expansiveness of that. I also am really a sucker for a fairy poem. Truly. I love a fairy ride. Anything that has to do with a fairy. Love it. Thank you. And yes, I believe you were in the second week. I did not take out I believe you were in the second week because I remember you and Gary Lilly signing up. I think you were in you had your debuts the same week, actually. So thank you for these 5 years, and looking forward to many more readings with you, my friend. Lee DeRogers was also in the early weeks, and I'm not sure if Lee is still with us. Lee, you'll let me know. But big shout out to Lee, though. Lee is one of my salmon siblings and is the editor of Naugatuck River Review and Word Peace. Look those publications up. Lee does amazing work, and you, of course, are, if you've been with us for the 5 years, many memorable readings. Cynthia Pratt, I hope the mayor is still with me here. You are. Thank you. Poet laureate of Lacey, Washington. I haven't given out enough shout outs to poet laureates today. I mean, I've given a few, so thank you for giving me one more giving me an opportunity to give a shout out to the poet laureates and all of the poet laureates in the room today.
So
and future poet laureates.
Yes, I was going to read a 5-line poem picked up by Humana Obscura for the Blue Anthology, but because this is a birthday celebration, I thought I maybe need something more upbeat. So this has a few more lines, but not much. It's still blue. The blue falls of Costa Rica, rippling blue-green silk catching light. These waterfalls look as if a fabric dealer unfurled his wares, muffling all sound. Imagine the sound standing on the bank, embracing the hard noise of water against rock. Instead, let us touch this dream of quiet, turn this scene into a place of repose. Can you find me? That's my poem. And I don't know if you saw the fact that my grandson read the dedication poem.
That is incredible. Was it recorded?
Well, he said it was, but he said they did not put it up where he could get to it to show me. He just said, Grandma, I know you'll be pleased because I know you like Evean Boland. So yes, she's one of my favorites.
One of my favorites too, of course. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I will be seeing you in June.
Yes.
I'll be seeing you online probably next Tuesday. Thank you.
And to you, I will probably run into you at the AWP.
Oh, right. You're going to be at AWP. Yes. So I'll see you in LA. Very good. Safe travels. Folks, big shout out to the Washingtonians, you know, because they were like my home community. And I moved, of course, to the East Coast during the pandemic. Thank you, everybody. And, you know, a person that has really made an impact here, probably my mom talks about Isaac Cohen all the time. How's Isaac? How's Isaac? And I have really just appreciated your contributions to our group. I think Don probably met you and encouraged you to join, is how I think you found us, and I'm just so grateful for your presence and your humanity. And
Yes.
there he is. Okay, very good.
Yes. Hi. Hi. Dear Sandy, dear Don, dear Kim, dear all my friends in the world. The time is hard because the war was returned. Many silence, many trouble to the mind. But I hope God will give the peace for the rest of my mind. Yes. Isaac Cohen. The meeting of love. A swarm of butterflies took me to you, a beautiful girl near the lake. My eyes flashed. I asked you for a small of your hair. You gave me the paradise aroma. Your pleasantness stay with me forever. Your pleasantness stay with me forever. Thank you, Sandy, and I hope the peace will come soon and all the people can live with peace and love. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, there have been a number of poets who have been with us that have really, because of where they live in the world, have, you know, brought the truth of the matters in the world into very, very sharp focus. And Isaac is one of those poets, one of the most loving, most peace-filled people I know. And you always bring that to the program. And I'm thinking back to what Marcella said about hope, you know, in the ravages of conflict, your poems were always bringing that hope back to us around the world. So thank you. Our scheduled is our last poet, but I'm gonna see if Kim will come on for the last poem after Rich Boucher, and because I feel like if she's got this bandwidth, I hope she will. So, but first, I love Rich Boucher. I love your work, and so I'm so thrilled that you you know, continue to find your way to us and share your work. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a huge honor to hear that. Thank you so much, Sandy. And I want to congratulate you and Don and Kim and everybody over there for the accomplishment of 5 years. I just found out 2 hours ago that my dear friend Jeff Taylor from the Boston scene died unexpectedly yesterday. And he was a fixture of the Boston scene. And he was a good man and father and an excellent poet. And I considered him to be one of the brothers given to me by the world, not related by blood, but I feel like I just need people to hear Jeff's work now. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit out of sorts about this, but I had the honor some years ago of publishing Jeff's work. And I always told people that Jeff sounded like home to me because the sheer New England in his voice made me think about growing up in New England, which is a very specific tone of voice and accent, if you know it. And this is a poem that I published of his some years back, and it's one of my favorites of his, and it's just sort of a small glimpse of what Jeff was about. And the poem is called "I'm Not, But I Am." And maybe I'm not really in the best place to just start doing a reading, but I've got to get this out because I just miss him, and I'm living right now with some pretty big disbelief. Yeah. So Jeff Taylor's poem is called "I'm Not, But I Am." I'm not campaigning to be president, but I'm building my library. I'm not the founder of a social network, but I'm wearing a hoodie. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I talk sitcom philosophies. I'm not a spy, but I'm chain smoking. I didn't go to flight school, but I'm a stoner. I didn't find God, but I married my best friend. I'm not a cult leader, but my children love me. I didn't consider myself an alcoholic, but I over-celebrated every minor holiday. I didn't create change, but I'm listening to podcasts. I'm not the heavy world champion, but I beat myself up. I didn't make the All-American team, but I know how to play the game. I'd make a terrible waiter, but I'll bring you what you ask for. Thank you I know I came in late and I apologize for that.
No, you're
I
good.
feel like I disrespected the reading by coming in late, but
No, it's
thank
all
you so
good.
much.
Thank you. And you were exactly where you needed to be this afternoon. And I feel that hearing one of Jeff's poems, I'm going to light a candle for him tonight.
Thank you.
And this is also one of the reasons we gather. We have shared a lot of tears in this group together over time. And your friend, your brother, and this poet, this is a way to honor him and his words. So I appreciate you bringing your heart and your vulnerability to us today, and probably to a number of the people, introducing them to Jeff.
Thank you so much.
As he soars, as his words soar. Thank you.
He was a beautiful guy, just a wonderful guy and a total love. There's a couple of people in the chat in the chat that asked about Jeff's book. Jeff was working on something, but I don't think there was a total book. That was from, I once edited an online literary magazine called Bombfire some years ago. And about 5 years ago, a little bit less than that, I had the privilege of publishing his poems in there. And I'll put the link to that in the chat, just so people can have it and find Jeff that way.
Please do. I'm going to reach out to you. I want to talk with you about Jeff a little more.
Thank you.
When I come back from LA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm so sorry for your loss and all of our losses. All of our losses. I mean, losing a poet, it is a hole in the sky. But, you know, they go through and they come back in many, many other ways. My dear beloved sister, I'm going to have you read the last poem, if you wouldn't mind, for today.
Well, we'll see if my internet cooperates. It's been going wonky doodle over here, but I'm hanging in there. So I'm sorry to be off camera, but it helped me not freeze. So, all right, I'll try reading a short one to close us out. It's a poem about everything is forever and temporary. Ephemera. This comes from my collection, The Mayapple Forest. Ephemera. Red dawn on the mountain, light filtering bare trees, bloodroot, hepatica, trout lily, fungal blooms, waking the ants, match flames of spring. Bees still drowsy with cold, taking first sips. Waning moon crossing a window, a kiss before sleep. Sleep itself, or any kiss, or any night, or the mystic lantern of a dream. Glowing from core to fingertips. Words blading a page, swirling mayflies, a feathery whisper, passing as the heron over the meadow to the pond, wing beats slowing, shifting, lifting, marking a life. I am saying nothing as tenderly as I can. A lily opening on any pond, any lily, a pulse, a pulsar, starlight pouring millennia at a glance. All this rising and falling, all this tunneling the anthills of perception, all of this. Sweet sips of here, now, look, this, yes, then gone. Peace and love and poetry to all of you always, and thank you for being part of this nourishing and inspiring community. I'm grateful for you.
And we are grateful for you. And I remember seeing you read for the first time. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And yeah. Kim Ports Parsons, everyone. Thank you. Folks, thank you for staying. Believe it or not, this is not the longest reading we've ever had. The longest reading was our first Poetry Pride Parade. It was 4.5 hours. I know. So that we're not doing that again this year. Well, we didn't do that again ever, but we're going to actually have 2 Poetry Pride Parades this year in our 5th anniversary year. So be looking for that. They're going to be June 15th and June 23rd, before we go on our summer hiatus. Folks, I am so grateful for all of you for reading. Would you just please unmute and show your appreciation for all of your beautiful and cherished voices today and all the days that we've been together in these past 5 years?
Thank you for everyone.
Bravo,
Thank you.
bravissima,
Thank you all.
fabuloso.
Oh, bravo.
Thank you all so much.
Beautiful.
Congratulations.
Happy anniversary.
Thank
Everybody.
you.
Beautiful.
Thank
Have a
you.
fun minutes.
Well, as mentioned at the top of the hour, everybody, at the top of the 2 hours, this is our 5th anniversary month. It's been the whole month, and Women's History and Herstory Month here in the U.S. And next week, you can join us for our first ever, if you're in LA, live in-person performance at the MG Studio for Offsite on Purpose, our collaboration with Swim Every Day, Mom Egg Review, Whale Road Review, Perugia Press. And that's going to be Thursday night, 7 to 10 p.m. Pacific, in person in downtown Los Angeles, the city of the stars. And then we're marching right into April and National Poetry Month. Wow. And we have a really amazing lineup coming up in April. Briefly let you know, I mentioned already on April 6th, it's our Poets Focus on Memory with Rachel Stanley, all Irish poets in memory. Damian Donnelly from Eat the Storms will be with us, and Pam Mueller. I love this lineup, and all of you on the open mic, the theme of memory. And then our new book showcase in National International Poetry Month was Tina Carlson from Santa Fe, Denise DeHamel, who's been with us, read with us in Lily Ledbetter, had one of her books in a new book showcase. Octavio Quintanilla will be here with us for his debut on Cultivating Voices live poetry. His book, The Book of Wounded Sparrows, was a National Book Award finalist this year. And Julie Marie Wade will be joining us as well. So be there for April 13th. And then, of course, it's our wild card open mic on April 20th. Well, folks, again, thank you so much for being here today for this 5th anniversary. There are so many stories to tell and things to share, and the reading was so prismatic. It really, I think, showed kind of the best of the 5 years in each of you coming here today. We got to see the best of the 5 years, and kind of relive them all together. So I want to just encourage you to continue to take very, very good care of yourselves, your beloveds, and, we had the Braving the Body anthology at the beginning of this month. Keep braving your bodies, your spirits, and your voices by writing and sharing your poetry. This, of course, is our time to speak up and out, and it always has been. And you are doing the good work out there, and you are doing the even better work when you share your work, because it does bring more light into humanity, and it allows us to be in dialogue with each other where there may not have been dialogue. I'm really grateful, of course. I want to thank Don Krieger, Kim Ports Parsons once again, and I want to thank our guests that read today for in memoriam, Martha Lovett Cullen, Mary Oishi, and Dora Siefer. And as well, I want to give a shout out to those folks behind the scenes again, Liza and Anita Rognes, who hosted us in their living room all the way back 5 years ago in Missoula, Montana. And of course, my mom, who's watching today. Folks, I'll see you in LA. And if not in LA, I'll see you right back here in this little screen in a couple weeks. Happy birthday, everybody. And good night.
Good night to you all. BOIDF.
Thank you so much. Stay safe, everyone.
Absolutely wonderful afternoon. Thank